Hi, I'm Dona Cardenas with Atlanta Communities, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Find Your Home in Atlanta. I have tried this year to focus on more educational content to help educate my clients so that when it comes to buying or selling, they can make the best educated decisions based on the knowledge that they have. If you are here for the first time, this is our second video in the series. Our first interview was with a lender. Future videos will cover closing attorney and inspection home services. Today we have with us Donnie Williams of All Atlanta Inspection Services, AmeriSpec. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Donnie has over 20 years in the business, and that's really important when it comes to hiring someone to inspect your home, whether you are a buyer or a seller. So why don't we start there? You can tell us a little bit about your company and how you got started.
Yeah, so actually AmeriSpec has been here since 1987, right? I came with our group and started with them about 11 years ago. So I was at a previous place before that. But we wanted to come together and with our partnership, we wanted to better serve our clients. We wanted to be able to be more educators and trainers and really help our clients understand the inspection process. And that's what we focus on.
And what services does your company offer when it comes to the inspections?
Yeah, so we're a full service inspection company. So really if you need it inspected, we do it. So anything from your pools, spas, radon, molds, it doesn't matter, we need to do it. We even do a specialty stucco inspection, right? Where, because everybody's scared of stucco. So we want to make sure that they're not, and we can do that type of inspection. They get a moisture-free warranty with their stucco.
Okay. A lot of other inspection companies just focus on one thing, so it's nice when you have a relationship with a company to be able to just go to one source that you trust. So the first question I have is, do y'all offer any repair services?
So no, we're a third-party inspection company. So we don't like a conflict of interest. So what we do for our clients is we partnered with Punch List USA. So we'll take our inspection report and we'll give it to Punch List USA, and they'll give you all the costs for the repairs. And they're licensed contractors here, so they can do it all for you or what you want done.
Okay, that's good to know. One of the first questions that I get when we're going through this process is, do I have to have a home inspector?
You absolutely should.
Inspection.
Right, but you don't have to legally. It's not a part of the contract, but because we're a buyer beware state in Georgia, you need to make sure that you're protected, and by doing that you get an inspection.
So we have the home inspected and the seller says, I'm not going to do anything. Was it worth getting it in the first place?
Absolutely, because now you have the knowledge of what needs to be done to the house or what condition the house is, and that's the real point of the inspection, is for you to have the understanding of what this house is. That house in the inspection tells a story of what it is.
Right. Sometimes over the years, I've been doing this since 1995, so if you do the math, it's like 27 years or something, I will get the inspection report and it'll say, within our scope, we were only able to do this inspection, so obviously you can't see through walls, getting up on the roof. Can you explain what that means a little bit? Yeah,
because we're inspectors, and most of us here in Georgia, because we're a non-licensed state, we use the ASHI standard. So in any inspection, we can't do an exhaustive inspection. So we can't take things apart, right? And sometimes it's more dangerous to walk the roof, or it can damage the roof by walking it. So we're kind of limited there. But like as far as us, like if we can't walk the roof, it's dangerous or for whatever reason, we all have drones. So all of our guys take videos and pictures of the roof. So we make sure that the roof gets a good inspection. We can't take certain things apart inside the house either. So
the drone is actually probably a better idea than just an inspector walking up there and taking pictures, because you're getting video of the whole thing and you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Shoot, I just thought of something. I guess it'll come back to me. But when it comes to those particular inspections, such as the roof or HVAC, at what point do you suggest the buyer taking it a step further and hiring one of those specialists?
So when it comes to that, like as an inspector, we're generalists, so we have to know a lot about a lot of different things, right? And you want to make sure that your inspection partner is trustworthy enough to do a great inspection, but also let you know when you need to have those specialists come out, right? So you don't necessarily always need to have a structural engineer out there. Let the inspector look at it. right? And let him help you and guide you through that. Same with the HVAC, right? Because some houses need that. If it's an older house, it will definitely need it. So let us help determine that for you before you just spend extra money.
Okay, before I follow up on that, I just remember my question. You mentioned something about ASHI.
Yes.
What is that?
It's American Society of Home Inspectors. It's the largest organization.
Do the inspectors have to be licensed?
No, not in Georgia.
Okay.
We do not have to be.
So then is it important as a home buyer or seller that your inspector have certain credentials, and what are those?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many of them, right? I don't want to bog us down, but in Georgia, kind of ASHI is like the golden standard. It's like being a realtor designation, right? So you have to go through standards of practice. You know, you have to have certain ethics, background checks, and things like that.
Background, okay. In today's world, that's important. So, okay, jumping back to the inspection as it pertains to going, deep diving. So, for example, the HVAC.
Yeah.
In all of the years in the older homes, things that I've seen come up are something about a cracked heat exchanger.
Right. Yeah.
If
rare,
you
but it
can't
does
see
happen.
it, so the HVAC company that they hire can tell us whether it's.
Yes, they're actually going to take that furnace apart and they're going to visually inspect the actual heat exchanger. So for an inspector, we take the furnace cover off. We're looking in the furnace cabinet, but we can only see about that much of that furnace, the heat exchanger.
Okay.
Right. So we're looking for clues such as rust, debris, anything like that would lead us to understand whether that heat exchanger is cracked. Whereas they're going to actually take it apart, look at it, and put it back together.
And on a day like today, where it's a little cold, you can't do the AC inspection, so
Correct.
the HVAC person would be able to.
Right. They'd be able to help you out because with the AC units, you don't want to test it if it's below 60 degrees. Right, because that can cause further damage to that unit. We try not to damage anything when we're there.
Or the opposite if it's too hot.
If it's too hot.
Okay,
right.
gotcha.
With the furnace.
Have you ever seen a house that had so many problems with it that you've recommended the buyer not proceed?
No, that's not our lane. That's not what we do as an inspector, right? As a home inspector, we relay our findings, and it's up to the buyer to make that decision. It's not ours.
I have to admit, you're really a breath of fresh air because especially if it's a first-time home buyer and the agent is not extremely well-versed in hand-holding, if you will.
Right.
The wrong inspector can really blow a deal up, and when it's not really warranted, because as I think you said, everything can be fixed as long as you have the knowledge, then you can decide.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the best thing to do too, right? Get the inspection, look through it, and let them make an informed decision. It's not the inspector's job to do that.
So speaking of the actual inspection, in a typical 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, how long do you expect it to take, and do you want the buyer there?
Absolutely. So usually it's between 2 and 4 hours to do an inspection. On the average house, it could be a little bit more, a little bit less, but just thinking in terms of 2 to 4 hours. Okay. And I highly recommend the buyers be there. Okay. This is the longest time they're going to be in that house till they own it. So you can get comfortable in the house, you can walk the house, because usually last time you were there, you probably previewed the house for 5 or 10 minutes and you liked it and you wrote a contract on it. So when you take that time with the inspection, you're in the house, you can learn about the house. Our guys are teachers. My inspectors are teachers. They're going to walk you through their findings, where things are, and we're going to help explain the house to you. So I think it's super important for them to be there.
I love that point of view. It's been my experience that even I've recommended that the buyer go in towards the end so as not to interrupt the inspector, but you're absolutely right. That's usually they're in for a few minutes the first time, maybe they go back a second time. Right. So I do recommend that they bring their tape measure and measure, but just hanging out and getting comfortable, and then anything that you have to share is definitely helpful.
And that's really what it's about. It's about our clients and letting them understand that part of the house. So I highly recommend it, and I hope we do more of that.
One of the last questions I have from a seller standpoint is, do you recommend having their home pre-inspected before putting it on the market?
Yes, I am. I love pre-listing inspections for our clients, because when you get a pre-listing inspection done, okay, you're now going to have the knowledge of what's going on with the house, what the buyer is probably going to ask for. So now you can make that determination if you want to fix it or you want to negotiate it. So now you have the power of the negotiation because you have an understanding of generally what's going to be asked for later.
Right.
And so you can make that determination.
Now, playing devil's advocate for just a second, the buyer's going to have their own inspector come in, so no two inspectors are going to come up with the same information. So I'm guessing you're looking for the major items.
Yeah, you have two different sets of eyeballs, right? So they're going to find something a little different. I'm sure most of the time in those cases, from a maintenance item to a critical, they just may have difference of opinions in what that is. But you get the vast majority of it, you're going to know what you need to do. So.
And then, like you said, you can take that into account when pricing the home or negotiating.
Or negotiating.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that I haven't thought to ask you that you think is important to share with the viewers?
No, I really wish, because we're coming from COVID to such a crazy market now back to a more balanced type market. I really hope the buyers, y'all get out there and go to the inspections more and spend more time with the inspectors, spend more time in that house, learn about that house. I think it'll help you. I really do hope we see more of that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again for spending time with us today. And we'll leave his information. If you have more questions or actually want to hire the services, it's All Atlanta Inspection Services and AmeriSpec. Thanks for watching, and if you found this information helpful, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you'll be notified of the next video that we drop. And speaking of the next video, I'm going to leave a little teaser. Donnie is actually going to come back and join us for next week's video where we're going to talk about a deadly killer. So I'll see you next week.